Have you ever been streaming Netflix on Wi-Fi while your AirPods are connected via Bluetooth and wondered how both signals work at the same time? Everyone assumes Wi-Fi and Bluetooth use completely different wireless frequencies that never interfere. But here's what nobody tells you about what's actually happening in the air around you right now. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are both broadcasting on the exact same 2.4 gigahertz frequency band, the same airwaves, the same radio space. They should be crashing into each other constantly, destroying your connections, making everything unusable. In the next 15 minutes, you're going to understand exactly how these two technologies share the same frequency without destroying each other, why this invisible traffic system is way more clever than you realized, and how understanding this changes the way you think about every wireless device in your home. Here's what's really happening in your living room right now. You've got your laptop connected to Wi-Fi. Your phone's Bluetooth is paired to your wireless headphones. Maybe you've got a smart speaker, a wireless mouse, a fitness tracker. All these devices are sending and receiving data through the air. And most of them, your Wi-Fi router, your Bluetooth devices, your wireless keyboard, they're all using the 2.4 gigahertz frequency band, the same exact slice of the electromagnetic spectrum. Picture this scenario. You're working from home at your kitchen table, your laptop is on Wi-Fi downloading a file, your Bluetooth headphones are playing Spotify, your phone is syncing with your Apple Watch, your wireless printer is connected to your network. All of these signals are flying through the same airspace, using the same frequency, somehow not interfering with each other? How is that even possible? It's like having 10 different radio stations all broadcasting on the same FM frequency in the same city, and somehow you can still hear each one clearly. Think about it this way. The 2.4 gigahertz band is like a highway. Wi-Fi is like buses carrying lots of passengers, big chunks of data moving at steady speeds. Bluetooth is like motorcycles, quick, nimble, carrying smaller amounts of data. Now imagine both the buses and motorcycles are using the same highway at the same time. They should be constantly crashing into each other. Traffic should be chaos. But somehow, they coexist. How? Everyone tells you to keep your devices away from interference sources. But that's not what actually happens most of the time. What really happens is that Wi-Fi and Bluetooth have incredibly clever built-in systems to avoid colliding with each other. They're constantly checking the airwaves, looking for gaps, adjusting their timing, hopping between frequencies. It's like an invisible dance happening millions of times per second, where every device is choreographed to avoid stepping on the others. And this matters because you've probably got 20 wireless devices in your home all competing for the same airspace. Your neighbors have another 20 devices, the apartment above you has more. All of these signals are overlapping, intersecting, occupying the same frequency band. Understanding how they coexist without constant interference isn't just interesting. It explains why sometimes your Wi-Fi slows down, why your Bluetooth headphones occasionally stutter, and why moving your router 3 feet to the left sometimes magically fixes everything. The 2.4 gigahertz frequency band spans from 2.4 to 2.483 gigahertz. That's a range of 83 megahertz. Doesn't sound like much, right? Within that tiny slice of spectrum, you've got Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, wireless keyboards and mice, baby monitors, cordless phones, microwave ovens, and wireless game controllers, all fighting for space. It's one of the most crowded neighborhoods in the electromagnetic spectrum. And yet, most of the time, everything works. So let me show you something. There's this principle I call the polite conversation protocol, and it's the key to understanding how wireless devices share space. Both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth use techniques called carrier sense and frequency hopping that are basically rules for taking turns talking. Before a device transmits, it listens. If another device is already transmitting on that frequency, it waits. When it does transmit, it does so in quick bursts, then checks again. It's like when you're in a group conversation at a party. You don't just start talking over everyone. You wait for a pause. You read the room. You take your turn, say your piece briefly, then let others speak. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth do the same thing with radio waves. Wi-Fi listens to see if the channel is clear. If it is, it transmits a chunk of data. Then it stops and listens again. Bluetooth is even more polite. It hops to a different frequency 1,600 times per second, spreading its signal across the band so it's never blocking one frequency for long. This matters because it means your devices aren't just blindly shouting into the airwaves, they're constantly sensing their environment and adapting. When your Wi-Fi router detects heavy Bluetooth activity on certain frequencies, it can shift its transmission to less crowded parts of the band. When your Bluetooth headphones sense strong Wi-Fi signals, they avoid those frequencies in their hopping pattern. It's cooperative coexistence through clever engineering. Think about your home Wi-Fi router. When you set it up, it scans all the available channels in the 2.4 GHz band and picks the one with the least interference. But here's what's wild. It's not just checking for other Wi-Fi networks. It's detecting all the noise in that frequency range. Bluetooth devices, microwave ovens, wireless video cameras, everything creating radio signals in that space. The router analyzes this electromagnetic traffic and tries to find the cleanest lane. Your brain assumes that different wireless technologies must use different frequencies to avoid problems. That's what makes logical sense. But in reality, radio spectrum is extremely valuable and limited. Governments auction off frequency bands for billions of dollars. The 2.4 GHz band is special because it's unlicensed. Anyone can use it without permission. So engineers had to make multiple technologies, share this space through clever protocols, rather than giving each technology its own exclusive frequency. But here's where it gets interesting. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth actually use the 2.4 GHz band in fundamentally different ways. Wi-Fi divides the band into channels, like lanes on that highway. In the US, there are 11 Wi-Fi channels, though only channels 1, 6, and 11 don't overlap with each other. When your router transmits, it's using one of these wider channels, about 20 megahertz wide. It stays on that channel unless you manually change it or it automatically switches due to interference. Bluetooth, meanwhile, uses something called frequency hopping spread spectrum. Instead of camping out on one channel, it hops between 79 different 1 MHz wide channels across the 2.4 GHz band. It changes frequency 1,600 times per second. So at any given microsecond, a Bluetooth device is transmitting on a specific narrow frequency. A fraction of a second later, it's on a completely different frequency. Then another. Then another. Pay attention to this. This frequency hopping is brilliant for several reasons. If a Bluetooth transmission happens to land on a frequency that Wi-Fi is currently using, the collision only affects that one tiny moment. 1/16 of a millisecond later, the Bluetooth signal has hopped to a different frequency and tries again. The data that got corrupted, the Bluetooth protocol automatically retransmits it. So brief collisions cause tiny delays but don't break the connection. Now, this next pattern is particularly sneaky because it involves power levels. There's this thing I call the inverse volume strategy. Wi-Fi typically transmits at much higher power than Bluetooth. Your Wi-Fi router might output 100 milliwatts or more. Bluetooth devices usually transmit at around 2.5 milliwatts. That's a 40 times difference. So Wi-Fi is like someone shouting, while Bluetooth is like someone whispering. You'd think this means Wi-Fi would drown out Bluetooth constantly. But here's the clever part. Bluetooth is designed for short-range communication. Your headphones only need to connect to your phone in your pocket, maybe 3 feet away. That whisper-level signal is plenty. Wi-Fi needs to reach across your entire house, so it shouts. They can coexist because they're optimized for different ranges and use cases. This is why when you move your Bluetooth headphones too far from your phone, the connection drops. The signal is deliberately low-powered for battery efficiency and to minimize interference with other devices. Meanwhile, your Wi-Fi connection works from across the house because it's got the power to punch through walls and distance. Different power levels for different jobs, both sharing the same frequency space. And here's what makes this even more surprising. Modern versions of both technologies have gotten even smarter about coexistence. Wi-Fi routers now implement something called adaptive frequency selection, where they dynamically avoid channels with heavy Bluetooth activity. Bluetooth 5 and newer include coexistence interfaces that allow Bluetooth chips to coordinate with Wi-Fi chips even when they're in the same device like your smartphone. Your phone has both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth radios inside it, sometimes on the same chip. These radios can literally talk to each other. The Bluetooth radio can tell the Wi-Fi radio, hey, I'm about to transmit, can you pause for a microsecond? The Wi-Fi radio responds, sure, I'm between packets anyway. This internal coordination prevents the device from interfering with itself. It's like your left hand asking your right hand for permission before reaching for something. And if you think that's wild, check this out. There's a newer technology called Bluetooth Low Energy that's even better at coexistence. It uses only 40 channels instead of 79, but it spaces them out carefully to avoid the most commonly used Wi-Fi channels. BLE is what your fitness tracker, smart home devices, and many wireless sensors use. It transmits in very short bursts with long pauses between, making it incredibly polite about sharing the airspace. Let me blow your mind for a second. Here's the uncomfortable truth about wireless coexistence that nobody wants to admit. The system works most of the time, but it's actually pretty fragile. When you've got a dozen Wi-Fi networks from neighboring apartments, plus 30 Bluetooth devices, plus your neighbor's microwave oven that leaks radiation every time they heat up leftovers, the 2.4 gigahertz band becomes congested. Like rush hour traffic where everyone's being polite and taking turns, but there are just too many cars. What's actually happening is that all these polite protocols listening before transmitting, hopping frequencies, backing off when collisions occur, they start to break down under heavy load. Devices spend more time waiting for clear airspace and less time actually transmitting data. Your Wi-Fi slows down, your Bluetooth audio stutters, not because the technologies are broken, but because there's simply too much demand for too little spectrum. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. This is why newer devices are moving to the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi band. It's less crowded because Bluetooth doesn't use it, older devices don't support it, and it doesn't penetrate walls as well, so neighboring networks interfere less. The 2.4 gigahertz band has become a victim of its own success. It works so well that everyone uses it, which ironically makes it work worse. And it's the reason why some devices let you choose between 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Your phone or laptop can use the less crowded 5 gigahertz band for Wi-Fi, leaving 2.4 gigahertz primarily for Bluetooth and other devices that can't switch. By spreading the load across different frequency bands, you reduce congestion on any single band. It's like building a new highway to relieve traffic on the old one. Let me tell you about two people setting up home offices. We'll call them Rachel and Tom. Rachel just moved into a new apartment building. She's got great internet service, a modern Wi-Fi router, quality Bluetooth headphones. She sets everything up and immediately notices problems. Her Zoom calls are choppy, her wireless mouse lags, her Bluetooth headphones keep cutting out. She's frustrated because she paid for good equipment. What's wrong? Here's what Rachel doesn't realize. She's in a dense apartment building where 15 neighboring Wi-Fi networks are all using the 2.4 gigahertz band. Her router auto-selected channel 6, but so did 5 other routers nearby. Her Bluetooth devices are competing not just with her own Wi-Fi, but with dozens of other wireless signals bleeding through the walls. The 2.4 gigahertz spectrum in her apartment is absolutely saturated. All the polite protocols in the world can't overcome raw congestion. Rachel spends months dealing with these issues. She blames her internet provider, she replaces her router, she buys different headphones. Nothing helps because she doesn't understand the fundamental problem: too many devices sharing too little spectrum. Meanwhile, she's got her router set to 4 gigahertz, only because she didn't know to enable 5 gigahertz. Now compare that to Tom. Tom also lives in a dense apartment building with tons of neighboring Wi-Fi networks. But Tom understands how wireless coexistence works. He logs into his router settings and switches his Wi-Fi to the 5 gigahertz band for his laptop and phone. His router still broadcasts 2.4 gigahertz for his older smart home devices that don't support 5 gigahertz, but his main data traffic is on the less congested band. Tom positions his router away from his microwave and baby monitor, which both use 2.4 gigahertz. When he uses Bluetooth headphones, he keeps his phone close and in line of sight to minimize power needs and interference. He uses wired connections for stationary devices like his desktop computer, rather than adding more wireless traffic to the spectrum. Notice how Tom's setup isn't objectively better equipment, it's just configured with understanding of how the technologies actually work. Here's what most people don't realize. So what's really going on here? It's not actually about having the best router or the most expensive headphones. It's about understanding that wireless devices share limited spectrum through cooperative protocols that work beautifully until there's too much traffic. The people who have reliable wireless connections don't have magical equipment. They understand the invisible traffic system and work with it rather than against it. These patterns aren't about technical expertise or engineering knowledge. They're about recognizing that every wireless device in your home is part of an ecosystem competing for the same airspace. You can't eliminate interference entirely, but now that you understand how frequency hopping and channel selection actually work, you can make choices that reduce congestion and improve reliability. So here's what we've uncovered. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth both use the 2.4 GHz frequency band, but employ different strategies. Wi-Fi uses wide channels and stays put, while Bluetooth hops between narrow channels 1,600 times per second. Both technologies listen before transmitting and use cooperative protocols to avoid collisions. Power levels differ dramatically, with Wi-Fi shouting across your house, while Bluetooth whispers between nearby devices. Modern devices can coordinate internally to prevent self-interference. And congestion happens when too many devices politely compete for too little spectrum. The question isn't whether Wi-Fi and Bluetooth will interfere with each other, they're designed to coexist. The question is whether you'll recognize when your wireless environment is saturated and make changes that work with the technology rather than fighting it. Because now you know that wireless signals aren't magic, they're radio waves, sharing crowded spectrum through clever protocols. You can't unknow it. So next time your Bluetooth headphones stutter during a video call, ask yourself, is this a broken device, or is it 20 wireless signals trying to share the same highway while being polite about taking turns? Because once you see that the invisible airwaves around you are a crowded but cooperative ecosystem where every device is constantly sensing, adapting, and negotiating for airtime, those occasional glitches stop looking like failures and start looking like the minor miracles of engineering that they actually are.